Here in Germany, the far-right Alternative for Germany party is fighting to contain a scandal involving its top candidate for June's European elections. Maximilian Krah, a member of the European Parliament, was already under investigation for suspicious links to Russia and China. But earlier this week, one of his aides was arrested and accused of spying for China. It's the latest in a series of alleged espionage incidents in Germany.
Judging by the number of recent arrests, you could get the idea Germany is rife with spies. On Tuesday, authorities announced they'd arrested an aide to far-right German member of the European Parliament, Maximilian Krah. The man is accused of relaying information about discussions in the European Parliament to Chinese intelligence services and spying on Chinese opposition figures in Germany.
We cannot
accept espionage against us, no matter what country it comes from. That's why it must be discovered, and those responsible must be arrested and brought to justice. The recent arrests in this country and elsewhere show we are quite successful in doing that. On Monday, 3 German nationals, also suspected of spying for China, were detained in a separate case. Prosecutors allege the trio sent information to Beijing's intelligence services about German technology with potential military uses and illegally exported a laser to China. But it's not only China's suspected agents who appear to be active in Germany. Last week, 2 Russian-German nationals were taken into custody on suspicion of spying for Moscow. They're accused of plotting attacks in Germany aimed at undermining Berlin's military support for Ukraine. The men were allegedly also seeking to target US military facilities. For many years now, we've been aware that Russia has been engaging in major activities here in Germany. Even before the war in Ukraine, I was already talking about a threat level similar to that of the Cold War. The whole thing has, of course, intensified even further with Russia's attack on Ukraine. Moscow dismissed the allegations, saying there's no proof of a link between those arrested and Russia. Beijing also rejects claims it was involved in espionage. Nonetheless, so many arrests in a short time will fuel fears at home that Germany is a top target for foreign spies.
We're joined now by our chief political editor, Michaela Küfner, at the German Parliament. Michaela, lawmakers have been discussing the threat that these spying cases pose to German democracy. What have they been saying?
Yes, well, we heard from the Chancellor, who was somewhat restrained because there are ongoing proceedings. The gloves were off here in Parliament today, where the far-right AfD party stood accused of essentially being traitors to Germany. We saw the Interior Minister cite those cases, those other arrests of spies, and pointing out to the far-right AfD that there's an independent judiciary here in Germany, because we have 2 things going on here. First of all, we have pretty much all other parties except the AfD saying now we can see out in the open what you're all about. You work with authoritarian regimes to create one here in Germany. This, of course, being aimed at the top 2 candidates on the European election list of the far-right AfD. And then you have an AfD party defending itself and alleging that there was a narrative against it, that things were stacked against them, with the Interior Minister today in Parliament pointing out that these are independent investigations and that the timing cannot be seen as something that is calculated. So we have an AfD that doesn't really want to stick to its own candidates anymore, which it can't remove from the list, so the posters aren't going up. Maximilian Krah, the top candidate, won't be at the launch of the EU election campaign. And you have, on the other hand, pretty much all other MPs here crying foul against the AfD and stressing that in the end that the state and the judicial system will catch up with them.
Are lawmakers weighing up any measures in response to these spy scandals?
Well, I had the chance to speak to some of them individually, including a member of the committee that controls Germany's intelligence services. And the line pretty much is that they want to see legal proceedings play out, and that the most important takeaway here politically is not just the AfD being so exposed and potentially weakened in the polls. We're all eagerly awaiting the next polls coming out. But at the same time, a wake-up call for Germany and also the German public to become more conscious of the threats that are out there in this geopolitical struggle unfolding very concretely here now between democracies and authoritarian states in the form of spying and spies being caught. This will very much be something that remains within the public debate, and there's a hope on the side of the government that this will also help it in the future in explaining what's at stake.
We'll leave it there for the time being, but thanks so much for joining us. DW Chief Political Editor, Michaela Küfner, thanks so much.